All right, so this is a breakdown of the GFI trade. So the first thing I'm going to look at is always going to be the higher time frames. And so right now we're on the weekly chart. So the one thing I'm going to do here, what kind of caught my eye to this was my previous high here, right? So that's 1452, right into this level. You could see we started to come back, and then we tried to test it again and failed. So that's the big clue right there. Okay, so the next thing, I always have my 50 simple moving. That's this line right here. This is now, again, on the weekly chart. And my 200. And, you could see how it was playing around on the 50 simple moving average. But here, we started to make our move higher. This is earnings back here in February. And so we started to push higher, and we broke this previous level over here, back tested it for 2 days, or excuse me, 2 weeks right here. And now obviously we're pushing higher. So pretty clear right now about the trade, or what I'm looking for. And really what I'm looking for is price action above this 1452 level. All right, so let me put this now on. We're going to go down to the daily chart. All right, so now the daily chart. Again, this past weekend, I had this on my radar because we're in this really tight flag. Let me go back to the weekly chart. Let me put this on all time frames. Extend it. Okay, go back to the daily. So now we have this 1452 level. So look here last week. So this is actually 2 weeks ago. On April 6th, we back tested that level and held. The next day, we put an inside day in. And then the next day after that, we started to push higher. Then this is Monday. Monday tried to break this 1618 extension, failed here, and then put in another candle here. So really at this point, it's on my radar for a couple of reasons. The first thing, bull flag, as I noted on the weekend review. The second thing is we've been holding RSI here. So I would consider this in a bullish range. So when RSI holds 50, like we did here, this is I consider a bullish range. But the big other clue for me was this TTM squeeze setup. And so you could see we go into a squeeze here, right? Let me also put volume on. See, here's another big clue. You have declining volume in the consolidation. Okay, so this is also important. So you have consolidation in a bull flag. You have declining volume in that bull flag. You have bullish RSI, and you also have a slingshot squeeze setting up. And so this morning, let's go down to a lower time frame. The thing is, this gapped over, right? So it gapped over our entry. If we go back to the daily chart, the entry really, I didn't put out a particular day trade or a trade alert on this, but if you were paying attention to this morning's gap up, I think there was another one, AU, which is also a gold stock, right? It's breaking its flag to the upside as well. Also bullish range on RSI, also slingshot, also declining volume in the bullish pennant. So these are all clues that you need to look for, when determining a trade. And so let's go down to the 30-minute. And so you could see that initial 30-minute push, right? For the first hour, we pushed higher, and now we're consolidating. So we can probably go down to a 15-minute chart and see a little better. So that's really the trade. I mean, it was a difficult trade right off the bat. If we go down to a 5-minute, because this really, I think if we put after hours on, you could see after hours it was already starting to move. And then, what I would do if I were to look to take this trade is I would look for the after hours high, which is right there, right at 1584. And that would be the level that I would watch to take this entry, right? So you could take the entry there, and you got this really big push higher. So anytime you have a gap up on a name that I'm calling out, watch the pre-market high, right? You get that pre-market high, that could be your entry. You can use the previous low of that as your stop. Like, so right here was the previous low. So here you're risking, 30 cents potentially, and your high was $1, right? So it's a 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio. That's not a bad trade. So hopefully that helps explain, number one, my thought process for why it was on my radar, but also, where you should take the trade or think about taking the trade. The other thing I would have looked for is in the bull flag, right? Where was the previous high at the reversal? And so that's like this candle right here. So you could also look at 1587 to take this trade to the upside. And I would probably keep a stop loss under the prior low, maybe at 1497. Now, where is this trade going to go? So let me just clean this up a little bit. So the first place we're going to look for it to go would be the previous high. Let me grab my extension tool here. And so I'll run an extension off of the flag high to the flag low. And so if we come up to the prior high at 1720, and let's say we break it, then I would watch for 1793. If we break 1793, then 1887. That's for my short term. And if I were to go back and look more longer term, then I would take the extension off the prior high here to the prior low there. And you could see we're already hesitating at the 1272 extension. We're already there. So this is where I would be very cautious. But if we break 1686, which we're very close to right now, then the 1618 extension to the upside, 1934, is the next likely target. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how to break down a trade and what I look for. Let me know if you have any questions. You could leave them down below in the Loom video.